But you know who does like to read a large assortment of books is Miss Stacy Wright, our school librarian.
Oh yeah, let's
Woohoo!
invite her in. I think Mr. Friedel only reads Tom Clancy novels anyways, so
And
nobody
car
knows who that
manuals.
is. Yeah, yeah, that's true. All right, let's bring in the wonderful Miss Stacy Wright. Welcome, Miss Wright.
Hey, thanks everybody. Hey, Mustangs. For this week's look at books, I dipped into the nonfiction section a little bit, and I wanted you to know we have a lot of books on important topics. And since today's theme is mental health, I went and pulled a couple of our books on mental health. And I think one of these was even recommended by Miss Henson. So the first one is Depression, A Teen's Guide to Survive. And it has a lot of really good, um, a good explanation on depression and anxiety. It really does explain not only what depression is, but also different treatments, and also has a wonderful reading list and resources in the back. So, this is just one of many books we have on mental health. But the one that I wanted to really focus on today is one called Your Brain Needs a Hug. And the subtitle or the little title beneath it is Life, Love, Mental Health, and Sandwiches. And this is a book on how to take care of your brain. And it does have sections on things like anxiety and depression, um, the effect of social media and the effect of stress. It also has explanations of eating disorders and all kinds of topics that can affect your brain. Um, and the purpose of it is to really help students, young people understand that you need to give yourself a break. If you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you have an eating disorder, you should not be hard on yourself. And if you know somebody with a mental health issue, you need to also give them a break, because this really does affect a large percentage of the population. If you don't know anybody who has a mental health issue, if you don't have a mental health issue, you probably do, but you will before too long. And again, it's one of those books that breaks things down really well. Your Brain Needs a Hug by Ray Earl. And it has a marvelous resource list in the back, apps, other books you can read, websites. So it's really good. And the subtitle really caught my attention: Life, Love, Mental Health, and Sandwiches. And you might think, okay, what do sandwiches have to do with hugging your brain, with loving and taking care of your brain? And the author wrote this book after she was in a store, a restaurant, and she wanted a vegetarian sandwich, and they didn't have vegetarian sandwiches. And she found herself getting really angry, and she couldn't really understand why something so small, like not being able to get a vegetarian sandwich, affected her so much. And it really forced her to look at what was happening in her life, in her brain, and why her response was just so much more than she felt like it needed to be. So, especially if you are a person who's interested in mental health, you're interested in your own mental health, you're interested in studying mental health, I think this is a really good introduction to that. And the best part about it is why mental health is so important, why learning about it is so very, very important, because we are all impacted by it.
That's
So,
amazing. Thank you so much for saying that.
yeah.
And there's usually a stigma too. It's like, I don't need mental health. I'm like, well, everyone has mental health. Like you have physical health, and you're either healthy or you're not, or maybe you're struggling with something. It doesn't mean that you're crazy, or you have a cold and you're going to die instantly or anything like that. But it's an indication that you could use some support and some TLC and some taking mindful moments in your life and giving yourself a hug and whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, you just can't be too hard on yourself. And this is available for curbside pickup. I think you all probably know every other Wednesday starting October 14th, we are doing curbside pickup for books. Right now, this is not available on Sora, but we do have a lot of electronic books that do have mental health themes. So if you are interested in studying this, if learning about it, especially after the guest speaker today, I think the Alderwood Middle School Library can hook you right up.
And what would a student do if they are looking for a recommendation, Miss Wright?
Well, a couple things. You can email me at Wright S. Remember, it's not Wright D at Alderwood. That's Deirdre Wright. She's another teacher. I'm Stacy Wright. So you can always email me for a recommendation. And I also, to our counselors, if you find books that the library needs, please let me know, because we are always wanting to purchase those. And that's a really important topic in our library. And people check out our books on anxiety and depression and some other really, really important topics all the time. So they're very popular.
Can I ask too, really quick? The very first book that you brought up, who's the author?
I'm sorry. It's Jacqueline Toner, PhD, and Claire Freeland, PhD. And it's called Depression, A Teen's Guide to Survive and Thrive. And I
Right.
like that it's written for teenagers. A lot of websites and books are not written for teenagers, but this one definitely is.
Yeah. And I think we made a recommendation a couple years ago to you, or maybe last year. It's hard to tell like how many, like I got an email that somebody was in 10th grade and I was like, what? And it's been this pandemic has just really skewed time for everyone. But we recommended a book called When Nothing Matters Anymore by Bev Cobain. So I think you have that in stock as well. Is that correct?
We have that, yeah. We have a whole section on mental health, and so I just grabbed these two because they're so popular.
Great.
But yes, we definitely have that, and a lot of other really important topics.
Excellent.
So, yeah.